So what I'd like to do now is introduce us to our first speaker of the day, which is Dr. Andrew Bourne. He's the Director of Partnerships at the EPSRC, and for those of you that don't know what that is, it's the Engineering and Physical Science Research Council, which is part of UK Research and Innovation. So, Dr. Andrew.
So good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to open the Tommy Flowers conference today and give an overview on how EPSRC supports creating value for businesses. So just by way of introduction, I know you've had my bio, but I'm currently Director of Partnerships within EPSRC. So what does that mean in practice? Well, I oversee and lead our strategic partnerships with universities, businesses. I'm also responsible for our regional and international approaches. But in summary, it's everything about working collaboratively with different stakeholders to get maximum value from our investments. So I've been asked to give a brief overview of EPSRC. For those that may not be aware, EPSRC is one of 9 councils that form UK research and innovation. And this is in response to the Support Nurse Review, and it brings together a really good kind of overview of the funding sector from the different councils. It also includes Research England and Innovate UK. Our parent department is the Department of Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy, and we get our funding from Her Majesty's Treasury. So the EPSRC delivery plan, published in 2019, sets out our priority framework for actually how we will operate and take forward our portfolio. And it's kind of described by this slide here. And what we've tried to do is think about what the outcomes of our investments should ultimately achieve. And for EPSRC, that's ensuring that we produce a more productive, connected, healthy, and resilient society. So they're the outcomes. And so how do we deliver that? Well, we do that in a number of ways. So first and foremost, we need to support excellence in research. We want to make sure we've got fantastic people that are actually trained and working in our portfolio. We want to better connect our research landscape to accelerate the impact of those research discoveries. And what's important from my perspective in the organisation is enhancing our business engagement, who bring real world problems for academics to explore. And the tools to actually deliver that portfolio are making sure we've got the right kind of shape of the portfolio and the priorities are identified. We've got state-of-the-art infrastructure to support our research. We've got access to an equal equality, diversity and included society. And that's really important for EPSRC at present and for UKRI. And also we attract and inspire the public, who are obviously the taxpayers that fund our research. And all this is underpinned by discovery research in engineering and physical sciences. And one of the things that we will always maintain is that it's a really long pipeline from research to implementation. So we need to keep those good ideas coming through that can then be taken forward by a number of different organisations in the sector. So what is business engagement from an EPSRC perspective? So working with business is a critical element of our core strategy, as I just described. And we find that working with businesses really helps us to describe the challenges that will stimulate discovery science, that support and build on exploitable technology. And they ultimately will be the routes that we accelerate the exploitation of that technology. And I guess our approach really is about how do we make sure we value both ends of the spectrum. So we very much want to think about the opportunities that the business partners can potentially address through their kind of business, through their businesses and organisations, and actually also recognising that we are a research funder. And I think what we've shown over the last decade or so is that we will be central to delivering the government's industrial strategy commitment, because of the importance and the kind of symbiotic relationship between research, development and innovation. And I think we need to strengthen that if we're going to hit the government target of 2.4% of GDP by 2027. So just a few facts and figures, just to put a bit of context around what we do. So EPSRC has a current live portfolio of around 5.6 billion. That's as of April 2020. And within that portfolio, that's generated a cash and in-kind contributions from business of around 1.7 billion additional funding, and that's from about 1,400 companies. And within those 1,400 companies, 280 of those are committed to contributing 1 million or more in cash and in kind, and another 160 around the kind of half a million mark. So really a substantial portfolio and very active with our business partners. And business engagement is just not for certain sectors like manufacturing and aerospace, but we work with the chemical sectors, the healthcare sectors, creative industry, and also many of the professional services in the UK. And again, it's not kind of located just one part of the UK. This really is an activity that covers the whole of the UK, whether it's linked to a local university or there are partnerships between groups of universities in different geographical regions. So we really truly are a national funder with business. So how do we create value for business? And so I've tried to summarize in this slide 5 different approaches that EPSRC feels it can add that value. So we provide a shop window on the opportunities that businesses have and connect them with the right people. We think we share the risk through co-investment in potentially transformative research. We maximise the attractiveness of UK by having high quality research. I think that makes the UK one of the go-to places for businesses to collaborate. We help shape the future research landscape by working closely with business. And we also nurture talent and develop the future workforce for the UK. And that's all underpinned by a strong data information database that we have. We have also good portfolio knowledge through our people and through the institutes and the institutions that we support. So I'm going to take each one of these approaches in turn, and you'll see on the slide a short case study just highlighting how that's kind of facilitated in action. So providing a shop window on the opportunities for business and connecting the right people. So how do we go about doing that? So much of that's done through kind of just regular interaction with our stakeholders, and that could be through project meetings for science, through some of our strategic formal relationships that we have with some of the larger companies. It could be through networking at conferences. But I think the key thing for me is actually how we kind of engage with our stakeholders and share information that we have about our portfolio. And sort of by asking questions about what's important to particular companies or users of research, we can then help kind of understand whether there are potential disruptive technologies that they don't know about that might be useful, whether we can actually help support future collaborative working. Again, I think part of the challenge is sometimes for companies, they just don't know how to access that collaborative research environment. And also, how do we think about, well, do we have potential solutions that might be working well in one area that could be deployed in another area of technology. And I can't help but not mention a BT case study as I'm here talking today. And one of the kind of examples here is how we kind of continue to make better use of existing copper networks that are actually a well-established part of the telecommunication infrastructure. And so our knowledge of the UK's information communication technology capability helped us to support BT form an academic research partnership so they could continue to develop this state-of-the-art technology and increase capacity across existing networks. So discovery-led research is high-risk research, and now sometimes there is a barrier between sort of getting businesses to invest in innovative technologies on their own, because that's quite a high upfront cost. And so I think by collaborating with EPSRC and research councils, we kind of share that risk, and by sharing that risk, it makes it cheaper, and actually it lowers that kind of barrier for all that are participating. And I think that's been a very important part of actually selling the value of collaboration with research councils over the years. So maximising the attractants of the UK is a place to invest in research and development. So we have a long track record of strong performance internationally of the UK research base, and REF has helped drive up standards, and I think that makes the UK an attractive proposition. And so I think one of the sort of missions of my particular team is actually thinking that a company, particularly multinational companies, in a very global research environment can choose any country in the world to invest their research investments. Why choose the UK? And I think by being open and proactive, I think we've got a good range of expertise. We've got highly skilled people, and also I think we've got I think internationally there is a good view of the kind of innovation system within the UK. Not only that what we support, but I think how generally companies can engage with different actors in the system. And so that kind of environment is something we work on. We know with some of the companies, and I've got an example here with the Constellium, how they actually are anchoring their research in the aluminium sector in the UK, and they could take that anywhere. And I think it's that kind of relationship that's really important in taking this forward. Fourthly, what's really important is to actually make sure that we're giving and supporting research portfolio that makes sense. And so one of the areas that we work closely all the time is actually getting our business partners to give us feedback on our strategic priorities and plans and help shape them in a kind of a co-created way. As we've kind of stipulated on this side, we've got 40% of our membership of our strategic advisory bodies actually come from business. And that's really important. And it's not for business just to tell us what the research areas should be, but it's actually to have an open dialogue where we can explore what some of the challenges might be, what some of the barriers might be, and then we can think about some of the research areas and the domains that we need to support more or less of to actually help think about those solutions. So we're not about trying to nail down and guess the future, because I don't think anybody's ever got that right. But by having that kind of open dialogue, we can get the vectors in the right direction about what's important for the UK. And I think by having close engagement, I think that also encourages an open innovation kind of style where people actually are more willing to participate in programs. So here we have a business engagement forum, which brings over 80 businesses together. We've actually got our next meeting coming up at the end of March. The last meeting we had was just before lockdown kicked in, so it's just a shame that we can't meet in person later this month, but nevertheless, we've got hopefully a very constructive programme of some of the ideas that we want to explore. And finally, people are our future, and so we just need to think about we're nurturing the right talent for what our business sectors need and what the UK needs going forward. Over 90% of the people that we train do not end up in academia. They go and work in companies, they go and work in the service sector, they go and work for themselves, and actually having a high quality trained workforce is really important for the UK's success. And we do that through a number of ways, through flagship centres for doctoral training, where there's significant business engagement, or through our industrial case studentship scheme, which is extremely popular. And both of those kind of offer businesses the try before you buy approach, which is great for the student to find out whether they actually like the kind of sector they're doing their research in. But equally, I think it gives the company a window on the potential talent that's out there, and often there is an offer of employment following the collaboration and the PhD studentship. And also those kind of studentship opportunities are the small seeds that often lead to sort of bigger and better collaborations, because they're actually quite low cost to actually start a future collaboration going. And so that's something that we also encourage. So as I come into land, just really to summarise what I've talked about. So there are many actors in the research innovation landscape that are contributing to creating economic value within the UK. And I'm not claiming that EPSRC delivers it all, but I think we play a key role, especially at the discovery-led part of the ecosystem. I've described 5 approaches of how EPSRC enhances value at the academic and business interface. That is not exclusive. And there are probably other things that I could talk about, but just summarising that kind of five mode approach is a good way of thinking about what we can do. And a recent Elsevier survey highlighted that businesses that partner with EPSRC grow faster in the shorter and medium term against similar businesses that do not. So I think there's a real sort of strong evidence base that actually working with the researchers and the research community really is good for business. So thank you very much for your attention, and I hope the rest of the conference goes well. Thank you.